Good morning friends, welcome back to Panika Tutorials. In this video, I want to discuss about overloading. So we have three types of overloading such as constructor overloading, method overloading and operator overloading. So all these concepts I will discuss in detail for you. So I sincerely request everyone to watch the complete video for better understanding. What is meant by overloading? One, behaving in different forms. So this is nothing but a polymorphism. So what is meant by polymorphism? Poly means many. Morphism means form. So it has many forms. Suppose let me take, when I am teaching the class, I will behave as a faculty. When I am learning a concept, I will behave as a student. When I am playing games with my friends, I will behave as a friend. When I am with my family members, I will behave as one of the responsible family member. So I am behaving in different forms according to the situation. Similarly, an operator behaving in different forms will call it as an operator overloading. A constructor having the same name. Okay, you have multiple constructors having the same name but different signatures. What is meant by different signatures means different number of arguments or various data types of arguments. Like, let me take a simple example. Let's take that I have a constructor A. If I have a constructor A, obviously you know that you have inside the class A, because constructor is having the same name as the class name. Now this is my one constructor because it does not have any argument. So this kind of constructor, I can consider it as a default constructor. Similarly, I am defining another constructor which is taking only one argument. Okay, so then this one I can call it as a parameterized constructor. Now these two constructors are having the same name but different signatures. Different signatures means a number of arguments can be different, or a type of the arguments can be different. Type of the arguments can be different, or it can be both, like you can have different number of arguments and different types of arguments also. Suppose let's take that this is one constructor. I am defining another constructor having the name A, and this time I am taking a double A. See, now these two will be considered as two different constructors because both are having same number of arguments. Okay, fine. But different types of arguments, because this is taking an integer and this is taking a double. Okay, let me consider of A, let me keep it as a double, variable name is B because it is an integer A, this is a double B. Okay, so both the constructors are having the same name called A and same number of arguments, because this is also having one argument or one parameter, this is also having one argument, but the type of the arguments, because this is an integer one and this is a double one, so these two can be called as two different constructors. Suppose let me take, I have a constructor A, it is taking one integer variable and another one an integer variable. Okay, this I can consider as a one constructor. Let's take that I have another constructor is taking one double value, some double B, let me write here only double C and then double D. Okay, let me open the curly braces, let me close the curly braces. See, this is inside the curly braces you will have the implementation. Without curly braces, if you are just declaring, then that one will be called as an abstract method. Okay, so now you can see this one. The number of arguments here are 2. Okay, you have 2 arguments and the data types are integer. So number of arguments are 2 here and the number of arguments in this constructor is 3. So the first one is satisfying. Number of arguments can be different. Here it has 2 arguments, here it is having 3 arguments or 3 parameters. And the data types, look at here, these two are integers and these three are double. So the number of arguments are different and the type of arguments are different. So that's why I said you can have different number of arguments, or the type of the arguments can be different, or both. So this is what a constructor overloading. In place of a constructor, if you use a method, okay, so what is the difference between a method and a constructor? Method will have the return type, method will have a name, whereas constructor does not have any return type. The class name will be equal to the constructor name. Okay, if the class name is matching with the method name, that method we will call it as a constructor, and a constructor does not have the return type. All these things about the constructor I have discussed in one of the video. You can go and check it. So these are about the overloading, like constructor overloading, method overloading, and operator overloading. If you have a doubt about the operator overloading, suppose if I give 2 plus 3, it will give me the output as 5. In place of 2 and 3, if I am giving a strings, okay, let me take a string called Java and let me take another string called course. Now if I use the same plus operator, it will do the concatenation, meaning is that it is merging the both the strings and it will give the output as Java course. So the plus between the integer constants, it is performing the addition and it is giving the result. Between the two strings, the same plus operator or an addition operator is performing the concatenation or merging. So it is behaving in different forms at different places. So this is what we'll call it as operator overloading. Now these concepts, we can call it as compile time polymorphism. We have polymorphism. So the overloading concept, we'll call it as a compile time polymorphism, whereas method overriding will call it as runtime polymorphism. Now let me discuss about the constructor overloading with an example. Then I will discuss about method overloading and then operator overloading. Now let me discuss about constructor overloading with an example. Okay, let me take a class A, okay, and as it is a constructor, the name of the class and the name of the method should be same. Okay, now what I am doing, I am opening the constructor and here I am writing system.out.println. Okay, and I am writing I am a default constructor. I am default constructor. Okay, let me close the constructor. Okay, I hope it is visible for you. Let me take another constructor having the same name as this one. Okay, and what it is doing is that it is taking two values and they are integers. Now here what I am doing is that I am displaying the A value and B value. System.out.println. The A value is, you can write a plus A. Similarly, you can display the B value using the system.out.println, and you can write the B value is. Okay, let me close the constructor. Okay, and let me close the class A. So now look at here. These two constructors are having the same name, but the number of parameters are different. So this one we will call it as a constructor overloading. Now I will write the main class or the driver class. I will keep it as a first. Okay, so as I keep the main class name as first, you need to save this program as first.java. Okay, now here what I will do, I will write the public static void main, and then I will write string args or a or anything you can write. And now let me open the main method. And now what I will do, I will create an object for the class A. So what is the syntax for creating an object? Class name, object name is equal to new class name. Now, as you did not pass any parameters when you are creating an object, then it will verify the default constructor. Yes, there is a default constructor. So it will invoke and directly it will display the output as I am default constructor. You no need to explicitly call the constructor with the help of an object. If it is a method, using the object we will invoke it. But it is a constructor. Whenever you create an object, then the corresponding constructor will be invoked. So as it is a default constructor, it will display the output as I am default constructor. Now let me create one more object for the class A. Okay, OB2 new. Here I am writing class name as A and I am passing values 20 and 30. Okay, let me close the main method. Let me close the class called first. Now look at here. When you are creating an object called OB1, you did not pass any parameters. Then it will invoke the default constructor. So in this case, you will get the output as I am default constructor. I am default constructor. And then look at here, when you are creating an object OB2, you are passing two parameters and these two are integers. Then it will verify the constructor A having two parameters and the two parameters are integer. Yes, there is a one such constructor in the class A. So then it will invoke and these two statements will be executed. Like you will get the output as the A value is 20, the A value, the B value is 30. So this is the output you will get. Now I have another question. Suppose let's take that I have created one more object OB3, a new A some 10. Let me close the method, let me close the class. Now it will create an object. While creating an object called OB3, it is checking for a constructor having only one parameter. Is there any constructor in the class A? Because you are creating an object for the class A. So it will verify, is there any one constructor defined which is taking only one parameter? No. There is no such constructor in the class A. Then obviously it will give an error for you. Okay. Is it clear? So how many parameters you are taking in the definition, those many parameters only you should pass when you are invoking. Is it clear? I hope you have understood about the constructor overloading. These two constructors are having the same name, but the number of parameters are different. So this concept we'll call it as constructor overloading. Now let me write a program for understanding the method overloading. Let me have a class A. Inside the class, now I have a method called display. It is taking only one parameter. And then I'm just displaying that value. So this system.out.println, the A value is okay. Let me close the method called display. Now I am defining a method called display having the same return type. It can be same return type or it can be different. Am I right? And then here it is taking two parameters. Okay. So the number of parameters are different, but the name is same. And the return type can be different or it can be same. Not a problem. Okay. When the number of parameters itself is changing and the method name is same, then it is nothing but method overloading. Even some people, what they will do is that they will create a method called display or something, it is not taking any arguments. Similarly, they will create another method called display, and only the return type they are changing. Okay, the number of arguments are same and the method name is same. In this case, it will give an error for you. Only point is that the number of arguments can be different, or the type of arguments can be different, or both. Okay, suppose now here what I am doing is that I am printing the sum. As I am taking two integer values, let me compute the sum and display it. So I will write system.out.println. The sum is, I will perform the a plus b and I will concat that result to this string called the sum is. Now let me close the method called display. Now these two methods are having the same name, but the number of parameters or arguments are different. So this is nothing but method overloading. Now let me have the driver class or the main class, and the name of the class is first. So you need to save this program as first.java. Then I will write public static void main string, where s should be capital, args or anything you can give. And let me open the main method. Now I will create an object for the class A. Let me have an object called ob new class name A. So we have successfully created an object called ob for the class A. Now using this object called ob, I can invoke the display method by passing one value 30. Okay, similarly in the next line I can call the display method by passing two parameters. Okay, let me close the method, let me close the class. Now what will happen is that as you have created an object called ob for the class A, using that object you are calling a method called display. Then in the class A, it will verify is there any method called display. Yes. And how many parameters you are passing? One parameter, which is an integer. So it will verify the number of arguments. Here also one argument is there and it is an integer. So this method will be invoked. Okay. Now what are the statements are there in this method? The a value is 30 you are displaying. So you will get the output as the a value is 30. Now using the object ob which has been created for the class A, you are again calling the display method. Now how many parameters you are passing? Two parameters. So this is having only one parameter. So this one will not be invoked. And look at here, there is a display method now having two parameters and both are integers. So this method will be invoked, and what it is doing? It is computing the sum. Okay, a value you will get it as 200 and b value you will get it as 300. So 200 plus 300. So this will result the sum is 500. Now let me just do small modification. What I am doing is that I am writing a ob.display. So using the object ob, I am calling the method called display, and now I am passing three parameters. Then what will happen? It will verify in the class A, is there any method called display? Yes, these are the two methods are having the display name. How many parameters are there here? Only one, but you are passing three parameters, so it will not be invoked. And then it will verify this display method. How many parameters it is having? Two, but how many parameters we are passing? Three. So this is also not matching. There is no a display method, another one having three parameters, and the data type is also integers. So this command or this statement will give an error for you. I hope you have understood about the method overloading. Okay, the method having the same name but different arguments, or the data type type of the arguments can be different. Now let me discuss about the operator overloading. What I can do is that I will modify this program little bit. Okay, I will not worry about this one. Okay, you can avoid this one or you can remove this one. Okay, So now what I am doing is that I am taking two integer values, a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 20, and if I write system dot out dot println, system dot out dot println, the sum is I can write a plus b. Now what will happen? A value is 10 and B value is 20. So 10 plus 20, 30 will be given. So that you will get the output as the sum is 30. Similarly, what I will do, I will take two string variables. So string S1 is equal to Java. Okay, string S2 is equal to course. And what I will write here is that, let me erase here and write that statement. Okay, you can remove all this content or you can erase it. Okay, now what I will do is that here I will write system dot out dot println. Okay, you can just perform S1 plus S2, or if you want to write something you can write it. Let me close the method, let me close the class. Now as these two variables a and b are of integers and storing integer constants, then it will perform the sum and the result will be given. But here these two S1 and S2 are the string variables having a string called Java and course. If you are performing the plus between them, it will perform the concatenation. So the plus between the integers, it is performing the addition. The same plus operator between the two strings, it is performing the string concatenation. So this is an example for operator overloading. Now all these programs I will discuss in the Notepad++. First, let me discuss about the constructor overloading. So do that one, I will define a class called A and I will use a default constructor. You know that constructor is a method which having the same name called class name. So here class name is A and even the constructor name is also A. And this constructor is not taking any parameters, so I can call it as a default constructor. And what is the task I want to do is that I want to print a statement called I am default constructor. I am default constructor. Let me close this one. Now let me take a one parameterized constructor. So I can say it as parameterized constructor. So parameterized constructor will take an arguments or the parameters. Now what I will do is that I will write a statement called system.out.println. The A value is, or the value you passed is, okay. I will write that A. Let me close this constructor. Now what I will do, I will take another constructor. This time what I will do is that I will pass two integer values. These two integer values I want to compute the sum and display it. So I will write system.out.println and I will write the sum is, I will write plus, which is for concatenation, and A plus B. So it will perform the A plus B operation and then result will be displayed. So we are done with the three constructors. So look at here. All these three constructors having the same name but different signatures. So this concept we will call it as constructor overloading. Now what I will do, I will take the main class. If you look at here, I have saved this program as overloading ex.java. So the main class name should be overloading ex. Now in the main class, I will write the main method. So public static void main and the string array. So let me write it as AR. Now what I will do is that first I will call the default constructor. How we will create a how we will call the default constructor? First we will create an object for the class A. Okay, it is the class name is A. I will create an object called ob1 and I will write new and this one. So now you know that automatically the default constructor will be invoked. Okay, similarly I will create another object for the class A and the object name is ob2. And now what I will do, I will pass one value. Suppose let me pass 20. Then you know that one parameter constructor will be invoked. Okay, because you are passing only one value. Any such constructor is there which is taking only one value and it is an integer. Yes, this constructor. So this task will be performed. Similarly, I will create another object called ob3 for the class A. This time I am passing the values 40 and 50. Now look at here. Then immediately it will look at the class A and having any constructor having two parameters and both the parameters are integers. This one is there, so it will be invoked. Okay, now what I will do, let me close the main method, let me close the class called overloading ex. Now I will open the command prompt, and you know that all our programs will be stored in the desktop Java programs folder. Now let me compile the program. Java C overloading ex dot java. There are no errors. Now let me run the code. Java overloading ex. Now you can see we got the output as I am default constructor. The value you passed is 20. The sum is 90. Okay, is it clear? So this is the way we can achieve the constructor overloading. Okay, suppose let's take that. Now here I am passing three arguments. Then what will happen? Look at the class A. Does class A have any constructor which is taking three parameters? No. Then it should give an error. Okay, let me save the program, open the command prompt, clear the screen. Let me compile the program again. Okay, see, you got an error. No suitable constructor found. A int comma int, because you are passing the three integers, but there is no constructor which is having the three formal parameters which are integers. So that's why this error is coming. Okay. Now let me modify the program to make you understand about the method overloading. What is the difference between a method and a constructor? Method will have the return type and it has own name, but whereas a constructor does not have any return type and it has the name as the class name. So we are done with the constructor overloading. Now we will write some method called display. Okay, and I will write, let me make it as display1. Okay, and here what I will do, I will write I am display1 method. I am display1 method, and let me close the display method. Similarly, I will write display2 method. Can I write display2? No, then in that case, these two methods will be different methods, but I want the same name. Okay, then only we will say that method overloading. So here also I will write display1, or to avoid the confusion, let me write it as display and display. Okay, now what I will do is that I will take one parameter, okay, which is an integer. That value I want to print. System dot out dot println the a value is, okay, I will write concatenation a, and let me close it. Similarly, I will write the display method having the two parameters. Okay, then I will write system dot out dot println the a value is, okay, plus for concatenation and then let me write the A. Similarly, the B value is, so I will write system dot out dot println, the B value is, okay, the B value is, let me perform the concatenation and then I will write the B. Let me close the display method. Now look at here. What I will do is that I will create an object called OB1 for the class A. So let me create it. Class name, object name is equal to new class name. So we have created an object. We have created an object called OB for class A. Okay, this is what we have done. Now using this object OB1, I will call the display method. Similarly, I will call the display method which having only one parameter. I will call the display method which is having the two parameters. Now look at here what is happening. Once you call the display method using the object created for the class A, it will look at the display method which does not return anything and it does not take any parameters. So no parameters and no return type. So this display method will be invoked. What it will display? It will display I am display one method, or let me write I am display method. Okay. So you will get here the output as I am display method. Now when you call the display method having only one parameter, then the control will go here. As you are passing one integer and the name of the method is display, so this method will be invoked. Then system.out.println, the A value is 20 will be displayed. Similarly, if you call the display method with two actual parameters such as 20 and 30, then this method will be invoked and it has the A value is be displayed and the B value 30 will be displayed. Okay, let me save the program and let me clear the screen and compile the program. There are no errors. Now let me run the program. Java overloading ex. Okay, now you can see I got the output as I am display method. The A value is 20, the A value is 20, the B value is 30. Okay, so here let me send 200. Okay, let me compile the program again. Let me run the program. See, this time you got I am display method, the A value is 20, the A value is 200 and the B value is 30. Okay, this is the way we can achieve the method overloading in Java. Now I want to discuss one more example. Look at here. I will write void sum. Okay. Then here I want to write system.out.println. Okay. Or let me take two parameters here, int a comma int b, so that I can explain in proper way. So system.out.println, the sum is, and then I will perform a plus b and it will be concatenated with the string. Okay, now I will take the same method called sum which is having two parameters which are integers. So lot of people will think it will be no issue and the program will give the output. Okay, let me look at here. Just here what I want to do, I want to perform the a plus b and I want to return that value. So return a plus b. Okay, look at here what will happen. Let me close the method. So people will think that, sir, sum method here it is taking two arguments but the return type is void, and this sum method is also taking two integer values, but return type is int. So we can achieve the method overloading. Like that, lot of people will think. Let me show it for them. Okay, here what I will do, as the first sum method does not return any value, I will just write ob1 dot sum 40 comma 60. Okay, and similarly, as the next sum method is returning an integer value, so that c value I want to store somewhere, so I will write int result is equal to ob1 dot sum. Now I will pass 400 comma 600. What lot of people will think that when you call the sum method and you are not expecting any return type, so then control will go here and it will print the sum is 100. That is what lot of people will think. Let me show it for you. The sum is 100. Okay, and what other people will think is that ob1 dot sum 400 comma 600 and you are expecting a return, so then people will think it will be invoked and it will return 1000, and the 1000 will be stored in the result variable. Result will become 1000. If I print that value which is there in the variable called result, people will expect that 1000 will be displayed. Let me show it. The result is, or the sum is, whatever you want to write. Okay, concatenation with a variable called result. Okay, now let me save the program. Let me go to the command prompt, clear the screen by pressing the command called cls. Let me compile the program again. As we have done the changes, we need to compile. Okay, see, you can see we got an error. Incompatible types. Void cannot be converted to int. Okay, in the line number 20 also you got an error. No suitable method for println string. We got the out error. So this is what actually happening. So don't think that if you change the return types having the same name with same arguments, but let's take that here if you write 3 arguments, then it is absolutely fine, because here you have taken 2 arguments and they are integers. You can take 2 arguments, but the data type should be different, like float a and int b. One is a float, one is an int. That is all. That is not an issue. Am I right? Because they are 2 different signatures. What is meant by different signatures? 2 different types of arguments or 2 different number of arguments. The number of arguments can be different or the data types can be different. Okay, is it clear? Now let me discuss about the operator overloading. What I will do is that I will take the class which is a main class only, overloading ex. Okay, and I will write main method public static void main string args. Now I will take 2 variables. Int a is equal to 10, int b is equal to 20, and I will write system dot out dot println. Okay, and I will write the sum is and similarly I will take 2 string variables. So string s1 is equal to Java, and then string s2 is equal to course. Okay, now here if I write the same thing like system dot out dot println, and if I perform, okay, the sum is, instead of a and b, let me use s1 and s2. Okay, what will happen here is that as the a and b are having the values 10 and 20, it will perform the addition and it will display the result as 30. But here s1 and s2 are the 2 string variables, so now it will perform the string concatenation. So the same plus When you have an integers, it performs the sum and displayed it. But when you are using between the two strings, it is performing the string concatenation. Okay, let me save the program. Okay, now let me open the command prompt, clear the screen, compile the program again. There are no errors. Let me run the program. Oh, we should write Java overloading ex. See, this time we got the output as the sum is 30, the sum is Java course, or you can write here the concatenated string is something, you can write whatever you want to display. Okay, so this is the way we can achieve the polymorphism like constructor overloading, method overloading, and operator overloading. If you still have any doubts related to these concepts, feel free to ask me in the comment section. I will try to clear your doubts as early as possible. Thank you for watching the complete video. Have a nice day.